Hey guys, welcome back to Be Unemployable.
Hi guys, I missed you. I missed you. It's been a couple weeks.
Jamie missed you so much.
I did. I really
That's all
did.
she talked about. She
I'm
was
just
just
like
like, when are
I
we
was
doing the
like,
podcast?
when? That's literally all I can think about. Like I don't care that I don't have furniture in my house. I need to do the podcast.
That's all she talked about. She was
That's
just
it.
like,
That's it.
what time? And I
What
was like,
time?
the same time as always. I was like, it's on our schedule. It doesn't change.
Do you want to hear the most insulting thing my husband told me yesterday?
Yeah,
So
kind of.
you know how I'm kind of an ADHD coach, And
Oh no, I just found out.
oh,
Oh, how long have you been doing that?
about 6 months now. Thank you for asking. But anyway,
Oh,
so I have the same meeting time every single week, right? Like it's a constant, and therefore I'm really good at knowing, hey, this 1 hour of the week I'm doing this thing. So I haven't put it in my calendar. I just know it's there. I don't schedule things for at that time. Like I'm really good at it. Well,
mhm.
Maggie, you won't guess what I did.
Did you seriously schedule something for that time?
Yeah, the Q&A that I just did, that's typically my coaching time. So I
Okay.
contacted my clients and I'm like, hey, it turns out I actually have ADHD and I am normally really good at, not scheduling during this time. But it turns out I totally messed up. And they were very kind. I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, they were very kind.
I
They
was
know
gonna
that.
say, I think I saw them there.
Yeah, they were there. They were
They were
at the
like,
Q&A.
they were like, well, I guess I'll attend the Q&A because I have the time already
Yeah.
free.
Because I don't have the time for that. I always go above and beyond for my clients, so I'm they're getting more than even just a group coaching session
But
this
what
week.
did Joe do?
Oh, so Joe, oh sorry, that's where this started. So
Yeah.
I told him that I realized I double booked, and he's like, do you use a calendar? I'm like, yeah, I do use a calendar. I don't normally for this because I'm good about not booking it. It's literally the only hour of my week that I'm not available, like for other things that I can schedule around. So yeah, I do use a calendar. I didn't put it in my phone yet. Like, how insulting.
To use a calendar.
Do you use a calendar? I'm like, you need to go fuck yourself. But to be honest, I didn't start using a calendar until you told me to start using a calendar, and that wasn't more than 2 months ago.
You're like, yeah, I've been using it for 2 months
I've been
now.
using it for
How
two
dare
months
you?
now, bitch.
How dare you ask me such a
Yeah,
question?
yeah. I can't remember if I double booked something and I was supposed to be meeting with you. Something happened. I'm just like, this sounds silly, but like I don't know how. And you're like, I use my Google Calendar. And I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna use mine. And
Yeah.
therefore I have been, and it works really well. So
Sean
if you're
uses the Apple Calendar and I use the Google Calendar.
yeah,
But I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of calendar you use, just use a
yeah,
calendar.
just use the one that syncs to your phone.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, it's so good.
Yeah. And that's a very simple thing. Like you never know when you're going to say something completely life-changing to somebody, and to you it's nothing and to them it's like their entire world. Like I now know when all my appointments are. Like in a second I can go look at what time my psychiatry appointment is on and at.
Life changing.
Life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10 people who use a calendar that syncs to their phone recommend it to others.
Yeah, for real. I recommend it to everybody, and everyone else is like, yeah, no shit. But then I
Yeah.
recommended it to Jamie, and she was like, what?
I was
And
like,
I was like,
"Wow.
oh, so this is
Wow."
why I recommend it to people, because some people
Yeah.
are like, what are you talking about? Tell
Yeah.
me more about this calendar.
Tell me about this calendar. This syncs to your phone. This is
Like, tell me
incredible.
everything. It's
Wow.
like, yeah, I love it. And I used to use an app called iCal, and
Okay.
I loved iCal because I could pull it up and it was like this big. I don't know why I used it. Like now, I looking back, I don't know why I used it. I used it for a
Mhm.
year.
Mhm.
And then I went month to month, and my credit card got hacked, and like, which used to happen more often, knock on everything I own, but it it used to happen all the time.
Yeah.
And my credit card got hacked, so like 1 month it didn't renew
Mhm.
because I needed to update my information. And I saw life without it. And I was like, why am I paying for this?
Right.
I was like, I could just use Google Calendar for like, and I was using my Google Calendar, but it like synced all of these different calendars. And I was
Right.
like, Google Calendar had come such a long way that I didn't need it anymore.
Yeah.
So I switched to just using Google, and Google does everything you need it to do.
It's amazing.
It's fantastic. It's a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, and it costs exactly $0. Exactly zero.
Free. Free
Free.
99.
Free 99. Free 99. Yeah. So if
Yeah.
you're not doing that already, go do that. And that'll be the most useful thing you get from this podcast episode. Just kidding. We're talking about really important things today.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Otherwise, bye. Bye.
Bye.
It
See
was
you
a
next
5-minute
week.
episode. 5-minute episode where we tell you to get a calendar.
I just fucking snorted. Yeah. Yeah.
It was actually courtesy of Joe because Joe's the one who's like, "Do you have a calendar?"
What an asshole. I love him though.
I guarantee he didn't mean it like that
Oh, he 100% did not. He did not.
because that's not the kind of person he is.
I don't know if you're aware of this, Maggie, but a lot of people with ADHD have RSD, which is rejection sensitivity dysphoria, where neutral situations can be taken as an attack. I don't know if you have ever experienced this, but
Not only am I aware of it, I live it. I
I
like it
am
is my
walking RSD.
experience.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
my experience. My husband says to me, now September is our 20-year wedding anniversary. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So it's like we've been through it. But he will say to me, like all the time, he's like, same team, bro. We're on the same team.
Oh, I
Like
love that.
when I am freaking out over something, that's what he says to me. Same team, bro.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah,
So
that's the reminder that you need when you're in the middle of like he'll
yeah.
literally say something so benign and I'm just like, what do you want? Like, and I go into my
Right.
little tirade about how I'm doing the best I can and
Right.
how, I can only do so much and blah, blah, blah. And I go into this victim mode for no apparent reason. And he'll be like, same team, bro. And
Yeah.
that snaps you out of it or snaps me out of it.
So I'm
So
also going to hire you as my marriage therapist because it turns out you're good at that too.
it's like, I literally, I am not a therapist. I'm a coach and I literally only teach from experience.
Which is
So
better than most therapists. But did I say that out loud? I'm so sorry. Oh my god,
but
I didn't mean to do that.
that's what
Must
like a lot of my clients, all they're looking for and what they're missing in a lot of therapists, not all therapists. I think therapy is great. I think therapy is needed,
Mhm.
wonderful, and great. But what they're
Right.
missing in a lot of therapists and why they switch so often is they're looking for validation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. That's why I switched therapists. I had a therapist that I was seeing for a very long time and told her about things I was struggling with. And it was like I had to keep defending why I was making the choices I was, even though I was doing the best I could. And like even looking back, I was doing the best I could, but it was like, well, why didn't you do this and that? And it's like, I don't understand. Like, is this therapy? Like, I needed someone to be like, you know what, you're doing the best you can, and like
Right.
you know me well. Like, I take responsibility, and I'm really good about my homework, and I put into practice things that I'm taught, and I was doing those things. But then I started seeing a different therapist who was like, oh wow, it turns out that there's actually a lot of shit going on. I'm like, thank you so much for just fucking saying that.
Right. That's all people need to hear is that the situation that they're experiencing is valid. It's happening.
Yeah.
Or that they experienced in the past. It happened.
Yeah.
Like it's not made up.
No.
Like that's all
No.
and a lot of therapists, not all of them. This is not a blanket statement, but a lot of people that I've talked to have seen therapists that are, they've not experienced it, so therefore
Mhm.
they don't see it as valid.
Right.
And
Right.
that's missing. Now, I experienced the opposite with my therapist. She literally saw right through my experience and was like, "You need to stop talking to your mother."
Yeah.
I mean, she knew exactly what was happening, but I wasn't ready to hear it yet.
Right.
So, that was a little bit of different, but it So like I was lucky to actually find an amazing therapist early in my journey, but I
Mhm.
wasn't at that point in my journey to acknowledge it.
Right. Right.
So it's different, but I know a lot of my clients, that's all they're looking for is that validation. And once they know that they are experiencing a real emotion, a real trauma, a real whatever it is,
Mhm.
then they can move on in their business, in their life, and in everything.
Yeah, we had and it's so funny that Maggie chose to uh coach you guys on the fear of being seen last week because our personal coaching session was about exactly that. I It was so funny because we were talking about fear of being seen, and what I thought was a money block was actually my my fear of abandonment, which tied into fear of being seen, which
Hmm.
ties into business. And I
Hmm.
told Maggie, I'm just like, I don't think that my fear of abandonment is affecting my business. Like, I don't see it. And she's like, that's really interesting that you don't see it. This is how it's happening. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then I went and told Joe, I'm just like, so it turns out that Maggie is better than like every therapist I've ever been with. And now I know that I have to go work on my fear of abandonment, which is no big deal at all. Just like go work on it.
Just
Um,
go bang that out real quick. Have
yeah,
fun. Have fun. Just go knock that out. It's like, and that's actually part of being autistic is that you can see patterns
yeah,
that other people don't see.
yeah,
So it makes me good at problem solving,
yes,
which is awesome.
yeah,
And people trust me, which is fantastic.
mm-hmm,
I'm very honored to be so trusted, but because people trust me, then they tell me, what's going on. And then I can
mm-hmm,
spot the patterns, but I can't spot the patterns unless people are honest with me.
right, right,
So once people are honest, I can say, "Oh, okay, well this is coming from here
right.
and this is
Um,
coming from there."
I'm just gonna have one more beef about my former therapist, and then we can actually talk about what we were gonna talk about.
Yeah.
But so I didn't think I had autism until just Maggie and I have very similar personalities, and she was formally diagnosed with autism. And I did more research on it, and I did one of those I know one of those assessments that has like a greater than 90% like inter-rater reliability and variability, whatever, very trusted resource. And I took it, and it was like, you are very much autistic. And I sent the result to Meg, and I'm like, so it turns out I'm rebranding to outsmarting ADHD and autism. And I'm not going to, only because I'm so far into the outsmart ADHD, but there's so
And
much
there's no reason to
correlation.
outsmart autism.
There's
There's no reason.
no,
Autism is ADHD will hold you back. Autism doesn't. And I mean, it
no,
can. Don't get me wrong, it can. It depends where
yeah,
you are on the spectrum, but
yeah, yeah.
you personally don't need to outsmart autism.
No, no. And I told my therapist that I'd seen for a very long time. I'm just like, I think I may be autistic. And immediately she's like, everyone, like it's a big fad now. Like everyone who's diagnosed with anything is also autistic, especially women. And so it's this big thing. And she didn't like hear like, and she's like, what makes you think that? And I'm just like, I have a really hard time with social cues. I have a hard time knowing when someone is actually being nice to me or when they're being an asshole. I have a hard time reading, like looking past that. Social cues. Um, I I know sensory, like sensory seeking and avoidant is part of ADHD, but I had it really, really intensely to where like if anything's touching my face, it drives me insane. And like I was listening off all these things that have to do with AD or with autism, and she was just like, well, I'll send you some things and you can decide. Like, I don't think you are. And I'm just like, okay, well, good talk.
Yeah,
But
thanks.
thanks so much for that. So anyway, if you're seeing a therapist that isn't very validating as far as your experiences or your concerns that you have, go find a new one. I did.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to a point where it's like, it's not that it's not that like, hey, I know I'm autistic and I know it's not that. It isn't that
No,
at all. It's
no.
that like you might what if you okay, so what if you are not autistic?
Mhm.
That's fine too. But
Yeah.
she needs to go on that journey with you
Yeah, just like
to discover that.
accept my like thoughts, not even concerns, because like you said, there's nothing more to like outsmart. It's just it's who I am. It's who I always have been.
Right.
But it would be
And
really great to know.
right. And honestly, it gives you another lens to look through past experiences and
Yeah,
understand why you reacted the way you did to certain things.
yeah, yeah.
And it's just it's more information about yourself and that's
Right,
not a bad thing.
right.
And having a therapist react strongly to something you say and not have it be a self-harm thing. Like if you're reacting
Mhm.
strongly to something that isn't self-harm,
Yeah,
what kind of therapist reacts like that? Most therapists are
yeah.
very deadpan and very like, "Oh, that's interesting. Let's talk about that." Like
Right,
very,
right.
"Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Like that let's do this."
yeah.
I I don't wanna, "Oh, every Tom, Dick, and Harry says this, that, that." Like,
Right. No.
why don't we leave your opinion at the door
Yeah.
and explore what I just said?
And maybe there's a lot more people getting diagnosed because there's more research on women who actually have autism and how it presents. Maybe
Correct.
that's it. So,
Maybe women's health has been ignored for so long and that people don't
oh,
understand
wow.
anything at all and haven't for
Right.
years, and now you're finally looking at it.
Right, right. Yeah, maybe
Perhaps
that's
that
the
has something to
fucking
do with it.
problem. So anyway, even though she takes my insurance, I choose to pay out of pocket for the person that I was seeing out of state because I actually want the best care.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes you have to do that. And yeah, so if you're not seeing good therapists, go find one. And if the ones that are in your insurance network aren't working for you, um, highly recommend if you can. Oh, I guess I need to change my alarms because this is telling me that my podcast is in an hour because I'm now in a different time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're 2 hours different now. So anyway, that's my rant about therapists, and thank you all for joining and knowing about how I feel about my past one. And my current one is great. If you want his information, let me know.
If you want one that is probably out of network, let her know.
Yeah, yeah, he's great. He's great. Worth every penny. I'll continue to
Yeah.
see him. So anyway,
There you go.
there's 17 minutes about things that aren't about. Well, it's not. No, it's not really about what we're
Actually,
talking
it's
about.
all
It
pretty
kind of
good
is.
lead in to what we're talking about. So, what we're talking about today is overcoming RSD and finally tackling your lead gen. So, if you haven't done your lead generation in your business, because, well, if you listen to last week's, it's most likely because of your fear of being seen. But what it then triggers is your RSD, right? It
Hmm.
triggers that, like, well, what if nobody signs up?
Right.
Like, what if I put all this out there and people maybe sign up for my freebie, but nobody actually converts? Then it
Hmm.
triggers all of this stuff.
Right.
So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
And then we're going to talk about an actual lead gen system, like what you can put in place to make it happen for you.
Hmm.
So that's kind of a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal. If you guys want to know what I'm doing, I'll tell you.
There you go.
You're welcome.
Jamie. Jamie will tell you everything.
I'll tell you everything because obviously. Oh shit! I just dropped my microphone. Sorry, guys.
Jamie will tell you everything, including how to break your mic.
Including how to break your mic. Oh, this is microphone number 2 from Amazon because the other one I bent the cord that plugs in. So this is actually microphone number 2. They've got great customer service. So they sent me a replacement, and then I sent back the older one. So thanks, Amazon.
So how to do everything, including break your mic. Number two.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So so your lead gen system is going to be how you bring your leads into your sphere, right? Into your entire your ecosystem, your world.
Mm-hmm.
How they find you, how they stay with you, and how they convert eventually.
Yes. Yes.
And then from there, do you want to actually keep them? If you really want to talk about a customer journey, you want to keep them and then you want to turn them into advocates for your business. So that's actually a true customer journey.
Mm-hmm.
But the lead gen side is going to be how do you even get them there?
Yes.
So Jamie's actually really good at audience building.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know I was. I guess I didn't realize I was such a likable person. I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the trauma that I had growing up or the abandonment from my father and the many people who dropped me out of nowhere because I'm not neurotypical. I'm sure it has nothing to do with that. But it turns out that I am kind of a hit in the neurodivergent community. Kind of fun to be around.
She's like, I'm kind of a big deal. I don't
Okay,
know.
I don't know if you know this, but I've got like 200 people in my Facebook group, so. But to be fair, I built that group. I went from like 40 people to almost 200 in less than a month, I think.
Yeah, that's
So,
actually really great growth. So Jamie's really good at this. And what you'll want to do is you want to figure out where you want to grow and how you want to grow your audience. You can use whatever platform makes sense. With Jamie and what we'll talk about here is Jamie is using Facebook groups because it makes the most sense. You can see Jamie, you can talk to Jamie, and Jamie is the likable character of the business, right? So you want to have like you always want to have a likable character in your business. You don't want it to be cold. You don't want it to be something that is coming across as a really sterile business.
mm-hmm.
So like when you think about Target, Target is a likable brand, but their likable character is Bullseye, right? It's the dog.
Yes.
So that's their likable character. And you always want to have that likable character in your business. And like with Progressive, for example, it would be Flo.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's your likable character.
Geico's the
So,
gecko.
yep. Like there's always that likable character up front. So, Jamie is her own likable character. And because Jamie is her likable character, the Facebook group is the easiest place for people to interact with her. And when I say interact with her, I don't mean get free coaching, show up in the Facebook group and be like, "Hi, I can't sleep through the night." And Jamie goes, "Okay, cool, let's troubleshoot that." Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not what I mean. But to audience build, she talks to people in other groups. She answers questions. This is exactly what I do as well, just in case anyone's curious.
This is where I learned it from.
This is this is how Jamie met me.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yeah, this is how Jamie met me. Like I answered her questions. And this is a way to make it so that you protect yourself and you don't have to worry about RSD flares. So, yeah, there's a lot of ways to do freebies and a lot of ways, and you can absolutely do them, and we can talk about that. We can talk about that in a later episode, is what I recommend doing.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about like, the PDFs and the mailing lists and those kind of things, those typical,
All the things that I didn't
the
do yet.
yeah, the neurotypical, and there's a place
Yeah.
for that, and it
Mm-hmm.
works.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not doing that right now.
No.
What I'm talking about is getting getting an audience or building an audience that likes you for you, likes your business for your business, and it protects your RSD,
Mm-hmm.
right? It protects yourself from having that reaction. So the way Jamie and I met is and this is how Jamie has now built her Facebook group, is Jamie asked a question. I don't remember. Oh, it was how, is there a way to market your business without social media?
Which is exactly what I'm using now, which is kind of fucking hilarious.
Yeah. And she was mainly talking about Instagram at the time. And I was like, I haven't posted to Instagram. At the time, I hadn't posted in months.
Your exact comment, do you mind if I quote it? Because I will not forget it. This is how I
Yeah,
met
go
you.
ahead, because I
You
don't
were
remember it.
like, I I have been meaning to care more about social media. I haven't posted in months. And sometimes or I often have 40K weeks. So my post was um I don't even know how many, so many people commented on it saying I needed social media. Maggie cut through all the fucking noise and said, "Hey, I've been meaning to care more about it, but I do really well without it." And that's all she said. She didn't say what she does. Nothing. Nothing of the sort. And from that, I responded back and I'm just like, "Oh my God, like that's incredible. Can I ask how?" She responded back, "Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not a gatekeeper. My clients, I just got done with the program. My clients follow this from this book." She gave me a book recommendation, the exact PDF from that book. And from there, I said, "Can I please message you?" Messaged her. I was begging her for a call. By the time that we were in the DMs, she sent me her Calendly. I wasn't available during her time because at the time I was doing free unpaid field work for my OT degree, which is great. You know, medical, they really value your time when you're learning. But anyway,
Hmm.
so she was like, I I can make a time like outside of that. I'm like, "Oh my God, are you serious? I'm not used to people doing that, service provider." She's like, "Yeah, I work with neurodivergent people. Like we are on neurodivergent time. It doesn't always work." I'm like, "Oh my God." I felt so fucking seen from that alone. And then we set up a time. I think you met with me on a can't remember if it was a weekend or a Monday.
It was a weekend. It was like a Sunday.
That's what I thought. I thought it was a Sunday. You met with me on a
Yeah.
weekend because that was the only time I could meet with you. And I wanted to meet with her so bad. I was messaging him like, "Oh my God, like, are you still gonna be there? Like, I cannot wait. Thank you so much for going out of your way because you did. You're meeting with me on a Sunday to talk to me, and but that's how Maggie cut through all the noise. She genuinely gave a fuck. She gave me actionable things. I bought the book the second she gave it to me. I don't know if I had already read the book before I no, I think I only received the book before our meeting, but I started reading it immediately after our meeting so that by the time that we did our first coaching session, I had already read the whole damn thing. Um,
Yep.
but
And
yeah, that's
the book is one page marketing plan.
oh, you need the book. One page marketing plan. Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the one page marketing plan is fantastic, and you can use it for any stage of business. You can use it for any type of business. It's a
Mhm.
fantastic book.
Yeah, I still think about it when I'm thinking about marketing. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, I have Maggie, and Maggie's learned from that book and so many other things. But I still think about like the specific things that like nuggets I took from that book too. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's how Maggie got me in her sphere, and it didn't take more than messages with her to know that I could trust her. Her website alone made me know, like, and trust her. And I told you that the second that I got on the call
Yeah.
with you.
That was like one
I'm
of the
like,
first things you said.
I was like, I just want to let you know that your website alone made me know, like, and trust you in 7 seconds. And you're like, that's awesome. That's kind of what I'm going for. Like, I designed it myself. And I'm like, wow, it's really fucking good. And then we went through a call, which it was totally unlike any of your sales calls because I was pretty much like,
Yeah.
I want to know where I sign. Like, what can you just send me where I put my credit card information? Because I'm ready right now. On the call, I asked him, like, so when can we do our first session? And you were like,
Yeah.
well, we can talk maybe on Tuesday, but like go think it over. I'm like, well, I already have a decision. I'll go talk to my fiance real quick, but I'll see you on Tuesday.
Yeah. We like we literally picked out a time, and I was like, "Why don't you go talk it over, and then if you like, no pressure," and you were just like, "No, no, no.
No,
I'm sure I wanna do this."
I will be there. Thank you so much. Send me the where I put my payment.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because Joe, being who Joe is, we have polar opposite personalities. He's just as kind-hearted as I am, but he's absolutely a skeptic and analytical as fuck. So we did like I don't know an hour of research on Maggie and her client testimonials and fucking LinkedIn and everything else. I'm like, he's like, so many people get duped, Jamie. Like, I'm like, Joe, she's trying real fucking hard to dupe people at this point. If she's got all of this out here, I'm like, and then even he got to the point where he's like, no, she's legit. Like this is gonna be good, and it's like, so,
Yeah.
and then it didn't take more than me meeting with you like once, and I would like word vomit everything I'm learning. I'm like, oh my God, listen to this, and now I like tell him things that I'm learning, And oh my gosh, Maggie, really proud moment. I know that I'm word vomiting and I'm like
It's fun.
taking over right now, but I was talking to him about this person who kept contacting me, acting like she wanted services, but then just kind of dropping off when I would mention like, "Hey, yeah, like I think you would be great in my coaching." And you know what he told me, Maggie? I feel like a proud mother. Like,
What did
this
he
is how
say?
moms feel. He's like, "Well, she's not your ideal client anyway."
Oh.
I almost came. I'm like, "Wow, that is the sexiest
You're
thing
like,
I
that
have
is
ever heard."
so hot.
That is
I don't
so
even know
hot.
what to do about it.
Like, talk to
Oh.
me again. Like,
Like,
just
say more marketing things.
say more marketing things to me, please. But so anyway, I guess this was supposed to be about lead gen, but I'm just really talking about how much I love you. But that comes into,
I like it.
but that
This is the
goes
best
into
podcast we've ever had. It's my favorite. It goes down in the Hall of Fame. Like, this is my favorite podcast. I'm
the
gonna
the
listen to it
new
on repeat. It's gonna be
the
like, Maggie, this podcast alone has 2,000 listens. I don't understand. And it'll be like, they're all coming from Brunswick, Ohio. Like, it's so weird. I don't know. Like, this is the best 10 minutes. I've never heard a better 10 minutes.
oh my gosh. Yeah, the title's gonna be Jamie gasses up Maggie for an hour. That's gonna be the new title.
And Maggie takes it.
And Maggie,
Maggie's like, "Yes. Yes, please. Right in my face. Right in my face. Aim for it." I'm like, "Let's do it."
I love how we're both very confident. So when someone tells us we're doing something great, I won't forget. You tell me that one of your clients was like, "Oh my gosh, you did this," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm awesome."
Yeah.
Period.
I'm amazing
And
in the
I
story.
I do the same thing, and it's so great to have someone who also does that. And it's like you don't look at me like I'm such an arrogant asshole when I do. It's just like, oh yeah, like that's just how we operate. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
am really great.
that's
Thank you
standard
for
operating
noticing.
procedure.
Yeah,
That is the SOP. Like, that is the SOP. We operate in excellence. Like, I don't
yeah.
know what to tell you.
I
Like,
don't
that
know
is
what to
how I
tell you.
operate.
Like, yeah, yeah. So anyway, let's talk about actionable tips maybe for lead gen.
So anyway, the so what I exhibited there, getting back to the original conversation with Jamie in the comments, is that is a freebie. I have a freebie on my website. I don't even think Jamie downloaded it. It
No, I
doesn't,
didn't.
and it really doesn't matter. The freebie on my website doesn't matter. It's noise at this point. But I had what I gave her was I gave her a PDF. It was actually my PDF. I did give you a PDF that I had created. I
Okay.
gave you the book recommendation
Mm-hmm.
and I gave you knowledge.
Yep.
That's it. That's a freebie.
And then in our meeting, you gave me another book recommendation.
I don't
And
even know which
even
one.
I bought it and I read it, and you have given me so many that I can't tell you
I
right
know I've
now what.
probably given you 75 book recommendations.
Well, I bought all the books that you recommended to me. And Joe's like, "Do we need to buy all 30 of them right now?" And I'm like, "Actually, the answer is yes. So therefore we did." Um, but yeah, I bought every book recommendation you gave me. But yeah, even at the meeting, again, a meeting I did not pay for, you gave
Yeah.
me even more free information.
And that to me, so the way that I do a freebie, for example, is I use my information as a freebie
Mm-hmm.
because it's valuable. People
Mm-hmm.
pay me for this information.
Yeah.
And I will give you more information if you continue to pay me. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the fear that comes up, this is a scarcity thing that arrives
Mm-hmm.
when people start giving away information for free is they go, well, why will they pay me if I give it to them for free?
Right.
They're going to pay you for your direct one-on-one connection
Mm-hmm.
because I'm only giving away information for free either if somebody comments and I see them and I'm starting to build a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I'm giving it for free. Or if they booked that 30-minute consult call with me, and
Yep.
then it's 30 minutes. Now, Jamie went longer because she was signing.
Mm-hmm.
Like she took like an hour, but
Yeah.
it, yeah, otherwise, like if you're not signing up, I'll give you 30 minutes for free. I'm Now, I'm not going to give you 30 minutes every week,
No.
but if it turns out, it's not in your budget, whatever the situation is, I'll still give you 30 minutes. I'm not going to go, oh, you can't afford me. Bye. I'm still going to troubleshoot with you with whatever your issue is, and we'll figure something out in those 30 minutes.
Yeah. I have been so loud about how amazing Maggie is that one of my clients actually booked a call with Maggie.
Yeah, and
And
we did some
and
stuff in 30 minutes.
and you gave her 30 minutes. Yeah. And she's was so
Yeah,
grateful.
yeah, it's
And
just not in our budget right now, and that's
yeah.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
not in everyone's budget. I mean, my weekly calls
Mhm.
start at my weekly calls are at about 1,500.
Mhm.
So, if you want to
Per
work with
month,
me,
not per call.
yeah, per month. Oh my god.
Just so that people understand, like,
No,
if
no,
I were to
not per
hear that, I
call.
might. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
No, no, no. So, if you want to talk weekly with me, it's at 1,500 a month, and it's not going to be an experience like, and that gives you contact with me in between calls too. That's the other
Mhm.
thing,
Mhm.
is that people reach out to me, like, I care about my people, like, I care about
Mhm.
them,
Yeah.
and I care about people who aren't my people too.
Right.
So I give them that time, and you do the same thing.
I do, yeah. I give so many fucks about the community, like my community. Our community, I say our because it's like our
The
community is
neurodivergent
the
community.
neurodivergent community. I give so many fucks, and people can tell that I give so many fucks, and that's why they show up to my free events because they know it's not going to be one big pitch. It's literally not a pitch. It's just like I want to fucking help you. Like let me help you as much as I possibly can in this hour.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
So,
that. So what Jamie does is, you give people, here's the process. So you're talking to people in other groups that you might be a part of, right? And that's assuming you're using this Facebook method. You're talking to people there. They want to work with you. If you have a Facebook group, you invite them into there.
mhm,
You'll normally do this through DMs and stuff. Or if they just want to keep in touch with you, however it is.
mhm,
Then what you do is you hold intimate events, right? So you can have that as a Q&A, you can have that as a teaching event, you can have that as whatever you want.
yeah.
And then what you do is you invite everybody to it. And you invite, I say everybody, but you don't want to invite too many people because you want it to be intimate.
Mhm,
So keep it less than 10 if you can.
mhm,
So when you invite people to it, you have a nice intimate space to either teach or answer questions or whatever it is that you're going to be doing in this time.
mhm,
And keep it to an hour or less. And then you cover whatever topics that you have. And then at the end, you invite people to a call. Now, on the call, you will help them one on one with an issue,
mhm.
and you
Give
will
them a
genuinely
transformation.
help them.
Mhm.
You are not going to sell unless it's correct. And by sell, I mean all you're going to do is offer a service.
Right.
You're not going to sell, like, you're not going to use car sales. Go back to our selling episode if you need to
Yeah.
information on how that works.
Yep.
But you're going to have that 30-minute call with them and say, "Hey, like, this is where you're having problems. This is how you solve it."
Mhm.
And then if you talk to them about it and you say, "You know what, you would really benefit from working with me," then that's the pitch, right? But if it
Right.
turns out that they wouldn't, and you say, "Hey, you would really benefit from working with a therapist,"
Mhm.
then that's the pitch, and that's not you.
And I have
And
done that. I
and
have
you help.
absolutely told
Yeah, I
people,
know
"Hey."
you have, and I have too.
Yeah.
Then the right option is, "Hey, you would benefit from working with someone who's
Mhm.
not me."
Mhm.
And then you give that recommendation.
Mhm.
Whatever that recommendation is, that's how the call ends.
Which is
You problem solve with them, and then you
Mhm.
give them a recommendation.
Absolutely. And that's still a transformation. Like if you tell someone, "Hey, you'd really benefit from a therapist," say that they go seek a therapist and then their life starts to transform and then eventually get to the point where they are ready to work with you. There were people that they had so much deep rooted trauma that they weren't ready to work with me explicitly, one like not one on one, but like in my program. They needed that extra support of getting through all of the childhood trauma and things that had happened to them, which I help you with strategies, and I have a lot of life experience, so I also coach based off of life experience. But if you're looking for like, hey, like how do I get through this divorce? My parent died and I was abused as a child, like that, I would be doing you a disservice to not tell you to go to see a therapist. But once you start working through some of that big shit, you can see a coach and a therapist in tandem, and that's a fucking beautiful marriage of services.
Yes. And that's exactly it. Is we we offer these calls, and this is what, if you are a service provider, I recommend you do as well, because you can determine what the next step is. And once you have this 30-minute call, like even if you do branding, for example, because that's my other business, remember, is I'm a designer.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do a 30-minute call with them, I can help them brainstorm who their ICA is. Even if this isn't something that I do charge for this stuff, but I could
Mm-hmm.
spend 30 minutes going, okay, so awesome. You work with women in their 40s who do blah, 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 right?
ICA's ideal client avatar, and I know
Oh,
that there's
sorry.
going to be some
Yeah,
people hearing this and their brain's going to loop on what the fuck's an ICA, and they're not going to hear what you're saying. And what you're saying is very, very beneficial. So I want to like stop that loop. Ideal client avatar, which is just the people who would most benefit from your services that you do want to market to. Okay, keep talking.
that's correct. So I forget because that's my zone of genius. So I
Mm-hmm.
forget that. So if you're working in branding, that's what you would, you could. I'm not saying that's the only thing you can talk on, but that's one of those things that you can get clear on a 30-minute call for free.
Mm-hmm.
Is you can, and then when you sell them a big strategy session, you just go deeper on those things that you were able to suss out on the free call. But if you talk to them and you realize they are so far, like they are so not ready for you
Mm-hmm.
that they don't even have their full business idea down,
Mm-hmm.
then you pass them off to a business coach,
Mm-hmm.
because they need to get to the point where they have a business plan created. They need to get to a point where, they know what their lead gen is. Investing in branding at this point makes no sense for them. So you could talk to them for those 30 minutes and get clear on those things and know what the next step is. So it's not just, it doesn't only work for coaches, it works for service providers as a whole.
Absolutely.
Like, if you do Reiki, you could talk to them and then you could find out, hey, you need to actually go to a doctor because I could
Mm-hmm.
help you, I can do this stuff with you, but you're talking about a medical condition that hasn't been treated, you're talking about all this stuff, and
Right.
I'm more concerned about your long-term health.
Mm-hmm.
So, this translates into any service field. Now when it comes to products, that's different, and honestly, product is very difficult. So, let's just focus on service right now
And you
because
don't do business coaching for people who do product based businesses, correct? You like you.
I do. It does cost a little more though,
Okay,
because
you
it
do.
is
Okay.
it is difficult.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to stop your train of
Oh
thought.
yeah, no, I do though, but it is more. I started off with product companies,
Okay. That's right.
so yeah, I started off with a boutique and pins and those kind of things. So
Okay.
I do product. It's just more difficult, and I treat each product as its own. Like I build custom plans for each product, so I can't
Hmm.
speak to it as much on a podcast.
Okay. That makes sense.
But that being said, service based, this is all pretty much the same, because
Hmm.
you are treating each person as their own person and each problem as its own problem.
Hmm.
So although this is a one size fits all strategy, it's customized down to the word that you use.
That
That makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Okay, good.
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah.
Good. I like it. But
Hmm.
yeah, then I mean, it comes down to having the sales call, which we discussed on the episode called ADHD and sales calls.
Hmm.
And from there, you close them and they're in your sphere.
And you close them because they know, like, and trust you, and not because you're a used car salesman. You've already given them probably at least a couple transformations based off of what got them into your sphere in the first place, and then based off of the call and what you gave them then. And I just want to reinforce the idea of that I had to recently get past of, like, if I give away all of my information, there's not going to be anything left. You don't even realize how much when you're talking to someone, it's the very, very tippy top of the iceberg. You have so much to give them, and you don't see it because you are not your ideal client.
Mhm.
They do not know what you know. It is impossible for you to put everything that you know and everything that you can do to help someone transform into a post, into an hour call, into a free event. That's impossible. That is like trying to um, fit an elephant into a dog crate. I don't know. Like, it's not going to work. You can't.
Yeah. It's scientifically impossible.
And they don't just want the dog crate, they want the elephant. You're not an elephant. Does that make sense, guys? You have a lot. You can't fit it into a little container. This is what I'm trying to say.
She's like, "Physics, guys, you get it."
Oh gosh, I literally
I can't do physics. Don't
I can't do
talk to me about
physics.
physics.
My bachelor's in exercise science, I could have gone two routes, and I literally picked the exercise science route that I didn't have to do chemistry or physics. Literally, there was like a I don't know why they had two forms. Like, one was geared towards PT and one was like OT, I think. And obviously I did the OT, but I'm just like, I can't do physics. Like, I would literally never be an OT if I had to do physics. So I just
Yeah.
beelined that shit. Side note. Okay, I'm gonna just come back here now. You take over the conversation, and yeah.
So so we're going to talk a little bit more though about how this theory, this strategy, how it helps with RSD. So you're putting a lot less skin in the game, even though it's higher touch.
Hmm.
When you're putting your seeds out there for new clients or for new leads, you're it might feel like you're actually putting yourself out there for rejection, but you're
Hmm.
really not. You're putting yourself out there and you're sharing your knowledge, and people can take it or leave it.
Hmm.
Because at the root of it, you know your knowledge is good. You know your information's good. And
Hmm.
that's it. Like once you make that comment, you can leave it. And my
Hmm.
suggestion as far as a schedule goes is, post comment rather, not post. Comment to people for like half an hour in the early half of the day, and then reply to those comments for half an hour in the later half of the day. That way it doesn't take up your whole day, you don't get distracted. Like actually schedule
Hmm.
it, in that handy dandy thing called a calendar. You may have heard of
Yeah.
it.
Insane.
You may have heard of
Insane
it, you may
tool.
not have heard of it. It was just invented back in like 400 BC, but
Actually, it was just invented 2 months ago when I started using it.
it was just invented when Jamie discovered it. Jamie invented it 2 months ago. So, Jamie invented it in June. You may not have heard of June. It was just invented 2 months ago as well.
And if you
So,
want to learn more about that, go back to the intro. It's the first 17 minutes of this podcast.
which was just invented 17 minutes ago. No, I'm just kidding. So, anyway, like you spend like half an hour. That way, if you schedule it out, it gets done. Number one. Well, it's more likely. I shouldn't say it
Mhm,
does because
mhm.
I have a lot of tasks that I just hit ignore on.
And it turns
Um,
out we both have ADHD, so I guess
yeah, it
it's
turns
killing me
out.
sometimes. Yeah.
But if you schedule it out, you're more likely to get it done, and you're more
Mhm.
likely to follow it.
Yes.
And if you need to, you can schedule it out at different times every day. If you're one of those people who like needs the variety,
Hmm.
I'm not. If I schedule it for a different time every day, I won't get it done.
Yeah, I would rather scrub my entire
Yeah.
bathroom with a toothbrush than schedule at a different time every day.
Yeah, that drives me insane. But some people prefer to have that. If that's
Mhm.
you, go for it. I Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um, the other part to that then is comment, follow up with your comments,
Hmm.
and then you're just kind of like you're literally will forget who you commented to. Like you're gonna forget.
Yeah.
So that's how your RSD is overcome in a way
Hmm.
because you don't remember that part of your ADHD that makes you forget
Hmm.
really helps you out here because you
Yeah.
can't remember who you commented to, so you can't feel rejected when they don't reply.
Right.
You're
I
just
was
like,
doing
oh, who the hell are you when they
the same.
reply?
Right. The same thing goes when you have a hard time like understanding social cues. Like I don't even realize when people are being shitty to me a lot of times because I'm just like I take them at face value.
Yeah,
So and I told Jem just like it's a blessing and a curse because like whatever. I think of it as more of a blessing, honestly, because the people that genuinely do care about me, they make it very well known to where I do understand it.
yeah.
And then the people who are shitty, I'm just like, oh, well, they tried to hurt my feelings and I didn't even know it.
You're like, oh, you're gonna have to try harder
You're gonna have to try
because
harder.
I
I
don't
don't.
read social cues.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm diagnosed with ADHD and I'm pretty sure I'm autistic, so I had no idea what was going on there.
You're like, I missed it all. Like, life is way better when you
Yeah,
can't read social cues
yeah.
because I just assume the best.
I genuinely do. Um, which
You're
is
like, it's
hilarious.
also really dangerous, and I'm likely
Right,
to send money to a Nigerian prince. No, I'm
right.
just kidding. Don't do that.
Right. Yeah, don't
Don't do
do
that.
that. Joe used to have to tell me like when we visited I think it was Colorado the first time, there was a lot of homeless people here. And my thought is
Oh, yeah.
yeah, my
You
thought is
just want
always
to
like
don't.
yeah,
You just want to give to everybody.
yeah, and I was duped, and I was like giving like even $1 to like here and there, like to all these people. And again, I was in college. I didn't have the money to do that, but just coming from a
Yeah.
place of knowing what it's like to be in poverty, I always think like if I have it, I'll give it. Which is again a money block too. Not saying that you shouldn't give, to people who
Yeah.
are, you guys know what I'm saying. Like I'm a nice fucking person, but
Yeah.
there's things that were happening there. And it would get to the point where like I would give someone $1 and then they'd be like, I really do need $2 for this. And Joe would be like, um, we're gonna leave now. Like he would straight up tell the person, like, no, that's what you're getting, and then like pull me away.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know how we got to this topic.
I was trying to talk about RSD.
I'm sorry, keep talking. I don't know why I trailed off.
It's because you had somebody to talk to.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
Social cues,
okay. It's
social
okay.
cues,
It's okay.
RSD. We're back now. We're
But
back.
with RSD, like you really will see that it flares a lot less with this method,
Yeah,
if at all,
yeah.
because your interactions, you're delivering really high quality stuff. Like, make sure that you are, I should also
Hmm.
say, because I say, hey, you're delivering high quality stuff. And then if you show up to your call and you're like, what's your problem? All right, we'll go get a calendar. Bye. Like, you know what? That person's right to not sign with you because that's shitty.
Yeah, yeah.
So you need to do your part in this. But if you are doing your part,
Hmm.
then it's good. It works. I mean, it
Yeah,
works over time. It's not going to work 100% of the time every time because nothing
right.
does,
Hmm.
but it's been shown to work. It works with the clients I have who implement it. It works for me. It works.
Hmm.
And it's an
Absolutely.
ADHD friendly way.
It is. Yep.
And we can
Absolutely.
talk about neurotypical ways in another time because those work for ADHD people if they layer it on after they have their ADHD foundation.
Yes, and there's things that you can automate so that it's done in a neurotypical way, but if you tell someone with ADHD to send out an email sequence and have it not automated, good luck with that. But you can give really great content through email and things like that too. So anyway,
But
yeah,
yeah, that's where we were going with all that.
yeah,
So if you hung on for the whole time, we love you.
we love you, and I look forward to hearing about your calendar and your newfound use of it.
Yeah, let us know if this is the first time you've ever heard of it. Like, if this is, like, a new concept for you, let us know. We're really curious.
Maggie, can I say something?
Yeah.
We started coaching together at a really like low point in my life where my husband was going through really bad health problems. We were living with family
Yeah.
and um I just want to like personally thank you because I don't know if I would currently be living in Colorado in a beautiful home with a fenced in yard with my dogs if I hadn't invested in coaching. And this is just like as a thank you. And I was
Aw.
reflecting on the reasons that I'm here and I'm gonna like try not to get emotional, but you have been such a pivotal part in that. And I genuinely don't think I would be here right now, and I don't think I would be as happy as I am right now. I'm so
Oh
sorry.
my
If
god.
I wouldn't have had coaching with you, so I just wanna, like, thank you for that. You have changed my life.
Oh, that means so much. I'm so proud of you and how much progress you've made in our time together, and I'm so excited to see where it's going.
Mm,
I'm so proud of you.
thank you. Oh, that wasn't even meant to be, like, a plug for your services, like, I was just literally thinking about, like, I'm living my dream. Like I live in this is a beautiful home. I have my own office now. Like my dogs have a beautiful fenced in yard. I have a huge kitchen. Like I currently have everything that I've ever wanted. Like if I were to die tomorrow, I hope that someone would say at the eulogy that like she died with everything she ever wanted. I have everything I've ever wanted in my current life right now. And
Oh,
now from here, I just get to like help even more people get to this point. So I don't think I'd be here without you.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so, so proud of you.
Thank you.
This is why I do what I do, is because I know, like, I knew when we met that you were capable
Yeah.
of way more than what you've even achieved right now.
Yeah.
But wait, just, I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to watch the rest of our time together. Like, I can't wait to watch it and see how it unfolds.
Me too. I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked. Thank you for taking me under your wing and deciding to partner with someone who's 27 and literally just started using a calendar 2 months ago.
Right?
You decided
Oh,
you asked me to be your partner when I wasn't even using a calendar, Maggie. Are
yeah,
you
I didn't
making
know
good life
that. Okay,
choices?
I didn't know. You didn't say also, what's a calendar? Like,
Would
what's
you
a
would you have still made that decision if you knew I wasn't currently using a calendar? This is real talk. Would you
uh,
have?
I would have been very concerned. I may
Yeah.
have not given you as big of a percentage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You might have had a little bit less of a percentage.
it's okay. Look, through coaching, I'm really great. Like through coaching,
You are,
I'm really really getting it together. So,
you
anyway,
are, you are. You're kicking ass, and I'm so proud of you.
thank you. So, thank you guys for showing up to this not therapy session, but just like tribute to Maggie. This
Yes,
is
thank you for coming to this. Maggie is the best episode,
Maggie is the best. And I
and
refuse to let myself have any more tears come out of my face because my makeup looks really good today.
she looks
Um,
amazing today. So you
thank
guys,
And the reason is because Maggie referred me to Beauty Pie, which has incredibly high end makeup for really inexpensive. And should we just like put your referral code in the thing so that you start getting a
yes,
kickback for all of that? Well,
yeah, we'll do that.
I'm gonna put your referral code in there because, and it's the most ADHD friendly like makeup place because there's only
Of
one
everything.
option for each thing, like one type of a face scrub, one type of toner, one type of everything, and then from there you just decide if you want it. Great, add to cart.
Yeah,
So
it's
you're welcome.
fantastic.
You're welcome.
It's the best.
Hmm.
And her hair looks amazing too
Let me tell you
because
why. Because
because
what's the name of the thing where you put it on your head?
it's called a bunny blowout.
Bunny blowout. Go
Yeah.
look at it. This is day 3, so this side is still curled. I have to redo this side, but like I literally looked like a supermodel. I sent Maggie pictures the last 2 days, and I'm just like, I want to let you know that that I look so good. Yesterday, I sent her. Was it yesterday or the day before? I sent you a picture, and I was just like, I just want to let you know I'm quitting both businesses to be a full time model. My new
It
rate
was the
is.
first day
It was the
that you
first
did
day.
it. Yeah.
Okay, and I was like, my rate is $3,000 for 10 minutes because I know my worth.
Yeah. It was it was so it was such a good picture, and she's just like, "I know my worth. I know it."
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
so good.
yeah. She sent me that along with many other housewarming presents.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I was like, "Here's one for you," because she Jamie struggles with her hair, so I wanted to
Hmm.
make sure I gave her something that was easy to style.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
way it took one more thing off your plate.
Yeah,
That's the secret, by the way, guys, is take things off your plate one at a time. Like, I finally have a haircut that is literally wash and go,
and it's so fucking
and
cute.
it's the first time I've ever
If you're
had
not
that.
watching this on YouTube, it's probably one because I didn't post it, but two, go and look at it eventually because her hair looks phenomenal. And
Yeah, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. I look like Eddie Munson from Stranger Things.
I've never seen Stranger Things.
Well,
Do I
that's
need
what I
to
look
go
like.
watch it?
Yeah, but he's not until season 4. But yeah,
Where do I stream it?
Netflix.
Okay, perfect.
You won't know who I'm talking about until season 4, but you could also just Google Eddie Munson.
I'll probably do that, but I also needed recommendations of things to watch.
Oh, Stranger Things is good.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we've given them tangible advice for their business as well as how to find a shitty therapist or how to know if you have a shitty therapist.
How to find a
Um,
shitty therapist
how to
if they
find a
have
shitty
openings.
therapist. Yeah, if they have
Sorry.
openings, they probably have a lot of them. Where to get your makeup, which is Beauty Pie. Link in the or in the bio for Maggie's referral code. What to do with your hair if you don't know what the fuck to do with it, and calendars. So they get this is a big episode. They got a lot
It's
of
a big
actionable
episode.
shit.
You guys,
Yeah,
we we found out about calendars. They're just invented. You might have just heard of them.
fucking dead.
They just came around. Hey Siri, when were calendars invented?
Here's what I found from reference.com. Evidence indicates that the first calendar was created by the Stone Age people in Britain about 10,000 years ago.
Okay. So
I'm going to use that as the intro right there.
there you go. It's perfect.
Oh
That's
my God,
perfect.
that's
It's perfect.
fucking hilarious.
So, but yeah, Jamie found out about him about 2 months ago. So that's cool. That's cool. No big deal.
I really am a great ADHD coach. People are probably listening to this like, why the fuck would I pay her?
Don't worry. She's not coaching you on calendar usage.
I'm really not. You do not want me to coach you on technology. Please do.
Yeah,
Please go to somebody else.
she's not
Please.
coaching you on any kind of calendar usage. She's not
No,
coaching you on anything like that. She doesn't
no, no,
coach you on
no.
anything about business. It's literally just about ADHD life
Yeah,
and getting through tasks, executive function, that kind of stuff.
yeah. That. Those things.
It's that.
Yeah.
It's very much that.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right, guys. We love you. Not as much as Jamie loves me, but we do love you. All right. Bye.